Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of New York. This is season 14. I think this is episode either 16 or 15. Either way, it's part one of the reunion. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up, and we see these three or four text messages pop up on the screen. So it's Uba texting, and she says this: "I like to kindly request that you refrain from intervening during my conversation with Karen tomorrow." Jenna responds back by saying, "Sorry, who is Karen? Who is Karen?" So then Aaron responds by saying, "I will not be slandered by you. I have done nothing wrong to you." So then Uba says, "Karen, you better pray to your God tomorrow or come correct." Now, see, Uba, this is why people say you do too much. Because here's the thing. And this is also how you know Uba is not from America. I mean, we could all tell, but like no one spells Karen over here Kerin. It's either the regular way we spell it, Karen, or the way I spell it, and I've seen other people spell it, Kuren, when I'm trying to put emphasis on the Karen. You know what I'm saying? But this text message right here, "Karen, you better pray to your God tomorrow or come correct." The way I would have been so nasty to Uba on that stage, every time she said something, I would have cut her off at the knees, because you can't text people this and not expect the energy to be reciprocated to you on that type of level. Why do I need to pray to God? Because why are you threatening me? Because I would have took that as a threat. So every time we would have had a conversation, I'd have been getting at your neck. And I'm not even like that. But you text me something like this, "Oh, you want this type of energy, so I'm gonna give it to you." And that's the issue. Uba be doing things like I told y'all, the whole pulling of the glasses. She did too much. I told y'all she was wrong for that. And if Aaron would have popped her in the mouth, she would have been well within her right. I told y'all why I understood why she did it. It still was wrong. Same with this. You can have an issue with somebody, but if you text somebody this type of information, you need to be ready with what type of energy they give you. And I promise you, had Uba texted this in the Atlanta or the Potomac group chat, she would have got cussed all the way out. Every single person on everybody's cast, even people that we think ain't about it, would have cussed her out and would have got on that stage and would have been like, every time Uba said something, they would have been coming at her neck. And then if Andy would have asked what was up, they would have been like, she wanted to get nasty in them text messages, so I'm getting nasty in real life because this is what you told me to pray to God, so what's up? Like you couldn't do that in Atlanta. Heck, you probably couldn't even do that in in New Jersey. They like to put hands on people, so you might have got popped in the mouth off rip. They might have walked on the stage with it like that to you. It would have been like, you can't text people that, okay, and not expect them to be like, "What's good?" Like you, is it a problem? Is there a problem? Okay. That's all I just need to know before we, So we then see Aaron and Bren talking. They're getting ready, and they're pretty much talking about the text message conversation. And Aaron is like, "I don't know what's her problem. I thought we was good." Bren says, "Well, she not getting dressed here." Aaron was like, "She probably embarrassed about that situation." And then they bring up Hot Tub Time Machine. That was actually a good movie. I'm not even gonna lie. That movie actually makes me laugh. So we then see Uba pull up on the scene, and I guess Andy has been like made privy to the situation that happened in the group chat. So he knock up on her door, and he's like, "Girl, what's going on with you?" And Uba is like, she's very hurt. She was like, "My teammate really wasn't being my teammate, and Aaron gaslit me." So I'm trying to figure out, did Aaron and Uba have like a understanding that like they were gonna have each other's back, and she just pissed off right now? Because that's what it's giving. Like, maybe they had an understanding that they were supposed to be like locked in or be each other's like buddies, and then seeing Aaron in her confessional say certain things really pissed her off. But what I think is happening to Uba is what they always tell us. The way, like, I guess there's 3 phases that you go through when you're doing reality TV. It's like you relive everything 3 times. Like, 1, you relive it when you're actually in the moment of the situation or the altercation that you're going through. 2, it's what's it called? It's like when you watch it on TV. like watching it back, and then you see the viewer's response, and then you actually get to see how everybody else in the situation really responded to you with the added part of the confessionals. And then the third part is when they're sitting on the stage and talking about it. And I think right now Uba is stuck in the second part because she made mention to Jenna being team Aaron, and Jenna said she was team Aaron when they were in Anguilla, and I think that really pissed Uba off, so that's why she came at Jenna out the gate. I think that's really what's going on, that Uba is like mad because now she feels like people are being fake, or they were being fake towards her, and she didn't like what they had to say when they were in Anguilla going through everything. So they get onto the stage. If you want to know what I thought about their outfits, check out my review. I still think Jenna look a mess. I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care. There was a way that she could have made this look better, but wearing jeans at the reunion was lame to me, and I don't care what none of y'all say. Don't care what none of y'all say. She has worn better outfits in her confessional and on the carpets that we've seen when she does interviews about the show. And this was lame. I didn't like it. It was real. It basically felt like you forgot that you was coming to the reunion and was like, oh, I'm gonna throw this on, and that's it. So Andy tried to give them like said that they did great. If I'm honest, they did decent. I told y'all I gave them a 7, but honestly, this reunion dropped them down to a 6.8. It was too much crying in the first 20 minutes of the show. It was just kind of like, we not even in here. Like, maybe if they would have started crying 40 minutes into the show, but 20 minutes into the show, we got everybody breaking down, dabbing each other's eyes, and I was just like, and I think the issue is like, it's been going on each season, the whole entire season, where it's just, I'm trying to say my words because I don't want to be disrespectful, because I think everyone has a right to share their story. Everyone has a right to, it has a right to their feelings, and their feelings should be validated. I just feel at this point that it's annoying. I don't know, it's annoying because y'all have been crying for like 14 episodes straight. And at this point, it's just kind of like the childhood trauma is the 7th housewife. And I think the issue is, yes, we had the ladies, like they're like their predecessors. They told her, like, Dorinda's husband died. Ramona's childhood was messed up. Bethany's childhood was messed up. Like, everyone's told us, like, the Countess and her situation, alcoholism, drug, the really messy divorces. We've had trauma in Real Housewives of New York, but they balanced it out with fun moments. There wasn't enough fun moments. It was kind of just blah. Like, there were moments when it was like, oh, okay, this is kind of going somewhere, but it never took us anywhere. And I think that's the issue. Like, yes, share those aspects of yourself and of your life, because that adds to the character that you are. But every episode can't be y'all crying. It can't. So they start, Andy asked all the girls the question. Then Uba goes for, was it Uba that went first? Uba said something about it's being difficult and all of this stuff. Oh, not yet. They run Aaron's package. Aaron starts crying about her mama. Did she start crying about? No. I'm getting ahead of myself. My bad, y'all. So they run Aaron's package. We find out that Aaron is working with Frederick for Million Dollar Listing. I used to watch that show, but not anymore. And Aaron says that, like, he's exactly what you see on TV. He's like, ain't no switching up with him. And then Uba says, unlike Jenna. And Jenna was like, whoa. Like, and everyone's like, girl, where did that come from? And then Uba says, Jenna likes to act like she's weak and powerless and she's old and all this stuff, but like off screen, she's a femme fatale. She's very like, and I kind of get what Uba is saying. It did come out of left field, but based off of what people have been saying online, especially on Reddit, and I don't really be on Reddit like that, but based off of what the people been saying on Reddit and other people who have spoken on Twitter, they were like, Jenna on work Jenna is very different from the Jenna we're seeing on TV. And I can see that because there's certain aspects of Jenna that I find very fake, where I'm like, girl, are you really this insecure? Like, you can't, I guess to me, you can't be that insecure about your body if you always naked and showing off your titties. Like, it's not the math, not mathing. But I also can see that just because you show up differently at work doesn't mean that's how you are in real life. She could be very much introverted in real life, and like, but at work maybe she morphs into a character of herself that makes her strong and makes her powerful. So she was just like, everyone was kind of taken aback by Uba. Then they start talking about Aaron's mom and how, so like, they do start talking about Aaron's mom. We find out that her mom got sick. We also find out that the people that we saw on the TV of like her siblings are her half siblings. So we find out Aaron is her mom and dad's only child. When she was after she was born, I guess she said a few years after that, her parents got a divorce, and then her dad became a single father because he remarried and had 4 kids and took care of them. She also talked about how like she ended up having to like raise her brothers because her like her siblings, because her dad would go overseas to work and then come back. And so she was getting emotional. She was like, that's why I have like an A-type personality. I was like, okay, girl. Then she starts talking about, because I think a viewer question was about the food and how Aaron never has food at her events. And Aaron took offense because she was like, I'm Jewish. We eat all the time. Like, but then everyone was like, but all you normally have is just like snack foods. So then they talk about the wedding, not the wedding, but her engagement, and Pavid being funny. Makes like, it's the fire festival like picture, that like that infamous picture that went viral, and he was like, I was starving, Aaron needs to consult me next time we have like a event so he can like feed, like, tell her what type of food to get. And I giggled. She's like, I always bring food, like I don't get why like this is such a big topic of conversation. They then start talking about there's issues between Sai and Aaron, and I guess Aaron had been doing interviews and they're arguing about this cheese plate again, and Sai was like, she took offense to the cheese plate, where she was like, you were going around making it seem like I'm just this rude person. Like, I was like, ugh, you're just having a cheese plate. When I said like, oh, you're just having a cheese plate, it was very like, you're just having a cheese plate, not really like, oh my gosh, you're just having a cheese plate. Like, you made it more than what it is. Aaron was like, no, I didn't. But then she like talks about like, Sai said, yes, you did. And you said it on a podcast recently. So Sai pulls out her phone where they play it. And it did sound like Aaron was making it seem like Sai was being rude about the cheese plate. So Aaron and Sai are going back and forth. Sai calls Aaron a liar. So Aaron is like, oh, I guess there's another liar in the group. And then Sai was like, who's the other liar? I was like, girl, do you not remember that you've been calling Jessel a liar the whole entire time? And so they're going back and forth. And then Uba interjects because Jessel was like, I don't understand this whole thing about the cheese plate. We sat down, we had a cheese plate. The vibe was really nice. Everybody was cool. So I don't get why we're just focusing on this cheese plate. Uba was like, yeah, why don't we talk about how you guys didn't want Jenna to be on the show? And everyone's like, what? You got Bren being like, so I guess they really had that conversation. But then Aaron and Sai are like, what are you talking about, Uba? Like, we never said that. And so everyone's like, yeah, girl, we never said that. So then they asked about how they felt about Aaron. And like, Uba said, I don't think Aaron is a liar. I think she's elegant, this and that, but I think she's a gaslighter and a shit stirrer. So then they played Jenna Lyons' package, and it got real emotional. They start talking about her mom. She starts crying about it. She starts talking about how, the whole, like how she gravitated towards Jessel's mom. Bren chimes in about how she had an experience where she threw up and her friend's mom ended up like hugging her and taking care of her. And she broke down in tears because she was like, it pisses you off because it's like, this is what I've been missing and it's so readily available to everybody else, but I can't get that. And Jenna resonated with that. Everyone was just like, it was nice to see you open up and like see that you're a normal person like everybody else. And then all of a sudden Uba starts crying about her mom, because I think they asked about her mom and she was like, I miss her like dearly. I wish I could talk to her. And then that's when she brings up how people have reached out to her saying that they've reached out to their parents trying to mend their fences because they don't want to, they don't want to be in her boat. They don't want to be in her boat. They then start talking about Jenna and her body issues, where they were like, we didn't even think it was that serious until they saw her speaking about it in the confessionals. And then they were just kind of like, oh, like once we saw it in the confessionals, we understood that like it was a lot deeper than what we thought. They then brought up how like Aaron's comment about saying that Jenna just wanted to go tan because she didn't want to be in coach, she didn't want to fly a coach, and everyone ended up apologizing, even Aaron, because they were kind of like, because Aaron was like, yeah, I misspoke, like I was wrong for doing that, and Jenna accepted it. So did they talk about Uber next? Oh, they were talking about the fashions. And then I think Jenna said that Bren was the best dressed because you never know what she's going to wear. Even though everybody else said that like Sai and Jessel were the best. But Uba was throwing shade at Jenna too, where she was just like, I don't think Jenna is that best dressed. All she got on is jeans. I said, girl. Uba was not here for Jenna. Like she was I think Uba was very irritated with Jenna saying she was team Aaron when they were in Anguilla. Like I think that really pissed her off. Cause she just like the whole reunion, it was like shots like going. So they finally get on the Uba trust thing where Andy asks Sai, like, why were you so mad at Bren when you were the one that broke Uba's trust? So Sai actually apologizes, and she said that I was mad at myself for breaking Uba's trust, that I just like, and I just took it out on Bren, even though like I should have never shared the conversation. Bren was like, all I said was Connecticut, but I guess Uba told Sai not to bring up about Connecticut. Side note, they're on Real Housewives of New York. I don't want to know, like, there should be no private girlfriends, private boyfriends. We need to see Jenna's girlfriend. I don't care that the cast have seen her girlfriend. I want to see her. And I need to see Uba's man from Connecticut. I don't care that the cast has met her. I want to see him. Why would you get on the show or date somebody that you know is private? That's stupid. That is stupid. So Brim was like, it's not that deep. Like I said, Connecticut, and y'all didn't even make it seem like it was the circle of trust. Y'all were just like, we were out, we were just talking, we got the drinks was flowing, and we was having a good time. Now, if you would have told me to keep it like locked down in the vault, I wouldn't have never said it. But y'all didn't say that. Either way, Bren, you messy. You messy. You messy. You's messy. So then Bren actually gets emotional because she's like, you haven't spoken to me in like 6 months and I've profusely apologized to you. Like I profusely, and she was, and I guess we find out like I said, they haven't spoken in 6 months, and I guess Bren and Sai really were bonding. Honestly, they were trauma bonding, like really trauma bonding. So that probably wasn't even a healthy relationship to begin with. But Brim was like, yeah. And then she was like, I'm glad you apologized, but you still going on the internet saying that I like is someone not to be trusted, even though you just admitted that you were angry with yourself, that you were the one that broke the trust. I let it out the bag. So why are you that mad at me when you were the one that started this? Because you should have never told me nothing about it. And then they show headlines of Sai talking about it. And Brenna's like, till this day, you're still doing interviews about how I'm someone that breaches trust and I'm not to be trusted. And so Bren also brings up that I've also heard that you've been calling me a slut and a whore and you don't know what I do for a living. But when we were friends, you knew what I did for a living. And then Bren brings up that, like, I hope you sign your contract for a Vino body or something. Like, I think that's the lotion people. I don't use that. Is it Nivea? The blue circle with the M word on it. That's the lotion I use. So, and Sai was like, yeah, but that was like in 2017. And then Brim was like, and I've closed more deals. I said, okay, Brim, toot your own horn. Don't let them play with you, girl. So they're sitting there and like they're getting upset. Like Brim is getting upset. Sai is getting upset. And then I think Uba was like, y'all can't let it end this way. Y'all really need to talk. And Sai is like, we talked. We just gotta let things hash. I apologize. Let's move on. And I was like, see, Sai thought she was gonna be that girl. Sai really thought she was gonna be that girl. But Bren had me like the one point in this episode, this reunion that made me holler is when Bren was like, I can't hear you all the way down there. I said, not you couch shaming, not you seat shaming. Like that tickled me. I said, oh, and Sai was like, you can hear me. You can hear me. And the funny thing about it is like, I definitely think like everyone has been saying, Sai thought she was going to be in charge of the girls, that she was going to be one of the it girls of the show. And I think the fans let her know you not that, as well as her sitting all the way at the end of the couch let her know, girl, neither does the network think you that girl. Even though I really do feel like Sai should have been switched with Jenna. Like Jenna should have been in the third chair and Sai should have been in the middle. But girl, before we get to Jessel's package, I forgot to mention when Jessel kind of like slightly got at Aaron and Sai. So they were talking about the circle of trust, and Andy was like, what goes on at this circle of trust? And Jessel was like, they talk about us. That's what goes on at the circle of trust. And then you see Uba and Jessel like high five and giggle and key. And then so then the conversation continues, and then they run but before they run Jessel's package, you have Andy like being like, so what do you feel about this? Like, how do you feel about it, Jessel? And Jessel was like, you know what? I'm actually real disgusted about how you guys talked about my marriage and how negative y'all were to it. You guys, Sai and Aaron being like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? So then Jessel was like, Aaron, did you watch the show? And she was like, yeah. So she was like, do you watch it with an effing blindfold on? Because y'all, and then you got Aaron being like, Aaron was looking like a deer caught in headlights a lot of the time. She didn't understand the whole Tribeca comment. Like, I'm like, does she not understand sarcasm? Like, it's giving the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top, or the lights are on and nobody's home kind of energy from Aaron. Like, it was weird. Because the whole, like, she didn't understand the Tribeca thing was annoying me. Or the whole comment, like, it was weird. So Aaron is like, she was like, what do you mean? And Uba's like, you talked about my husband not having his ring on. You tried to insinuate that he was cheating on me. Like, for real, bro? Like, what? And then Aaron was like, I wasn't even, the whole ring thing wasn't that deep. Like, I was just saying, like, Abe doesn't wear his ring. And Jessel's like, that's not what I heard. And I got it from Bren. And Bren is a pot stirrer, so I can see Bren adding extra spice onto it. And Jessel was like, yeah, like, you talked about my man, got it, like my whole situation, like, and for you to speak so negatively about it, especially when you was freaking out when Bren was flirting with your husband, that's out of pocket, bro. And I was like, call it, Jessel, because you freaked out about that, Aaron. So why would you ever think that you could speak on someone's relationship? So then Aaron was like, I'm being held to a different standard than Sai. Like, you got beef with me, and I'm not even, like, she was like, Sai said something too, and Jessel was like, I'm going to make my way down that couch. I'm going to make my way down that couch. Then you got Sai being like, oh, like she's scared. I wanted Jessel to say, bitch, don't get cute with me, because I got something for your ass real quick. I needed her to point that finger at Sai and be like, don't get cute with me, ho. Don't do it. Don't do it. I just needed her to do that. I really needed her to do that. But she didn't. So then they run Jessel's package. We find out that the kids are really going to that $35,000 kindergarten school. Couldn't be me. I would not spend. That's tuition to college. No, ma'am. No, thank you. So then the question comes up from a viewer like, Jessel, did you really move from Dallas to New York? And you could see in Aaron and Sai's face, like, finally someone asked that question, because they both were like, yeah. But I don't understand them being so like, oh, she's not really from New York. What does it matter? What does it? Uba's not from New York. She's from Canada. We found out that her family's from immigrated. I forgot the country she said. Did she say Somalia? I can't remember. Immigrated from Africa to Canada. She's not from New York. And my thing about it is, like, Jessel lived in New York for 10 years. So she tells us, like, she lived in New York for 10 years. Then she moved to LA with Pavid. Once they got married, then Pavid moved to Dallas. They have a home in Dallas because that's where he started his business. And then she got the ability to come back up here. And even if she came back to New York for the show, what does it matter? Like, she's here. Like, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Y'all are pressing the issue and it's not that big of a deal. So they move on. They then start talking about how do they get to Sai? Moving. Oh, they asked Bren, did she move? And they said the same thing. Oh, they start talking to Sai about like her, like, Sai is weird because Sai says she deals with her harsh exterior with comedy. You're not funny. Nothing you have said has been funny. And you might need to check into that. Because she was like, I hide my pain because I'm broken inside with comedy. It doesn't come off as comedy, sis. It comes out as meanness. You need to check on that, okay? You really do. You really do. So Sai immediately says sorry when they talk about her speaking about Pavid and her Pavid and Jessel's marriage. And Sai was like, you know what? I shouldn't have said anything about your relationship, even though I don't see a connection. And so Jessel was like, you don't see a connection between me and my husband? But you just said you were going to stop making comments about my relationship. And even Andy was like, yeah, you just sandwiched what you said. But like you did a compliment and sandwiched it with mess, ma'am. And so then Jessel was like, y'all tried to insinuate that my husband was cheating on me. I went through postpartum. Jessel starting to get worked up. She was like, I went through postpartum. I had several months of IVF. Like, it's normal for me not to want to have sex. And so then Sai tried to cut Jessel off, and Jessel was like, no, girl, you gonna let me speak. You gonna let me speak. And then Sai was like, okay, Jessel. And I was like, yeah, girl, shut up, Sai. Let the lady speak. And she was like, you both had no right to speak about my marriage in the way that you did. Y'all both insinuated that my husband cheated on me, and that is disgusting behavior. And they're both kind of sitting confused. And I'm like, y'all did. And this is my thing. If you're going to be a villain, be a villain. Like, stand in it. That's one of the reasons why I liked Lisa Rinna in the beginning, is because Lisa Rinna was a villain and she stood in it. Same with Brandy Glanville. You stand in it. Stand in it. Stand in your villainry. Y'all were dicks to this lady for the whole entire season. And now that she's clocking and calling it out, all of a sudden, I'm sorry, and you really want to move on from it. No, what you did was wrong, and she should have every right to call y'all to hold your feet to the fire and take you to task. Because if I was Jessel, I really would have been like, for y'all to be talking about my marriage and your husband said that they would leave you, I would be worried about that. Especially Sai and you, especially with the way that people been saying how you got with your man. That's what she should have said. If Jessel was there, because that's something I would say. I'd be like, you're talking about my marriage when the internet has been saying that you got with your man when he was still married and you got pregnant on purpose. And if Sai would have got mad, I'd have been like, but that's just my opinion, just like it's your opinion, right? Like, that might be true, right? Okay. Same with Aaron. I'd have been like, in the streets are saying that your man got somebody up the street. Because he's telling you, after a while, we going to get to swinging because you don't satisfy me anymore. But you want to be monogamous. Something's wrong right there. You might want to check the phone records, sis. That's the energy I would have been on if I was Jessel. But yeah, it was a drag. I don't know what the part 2 is going to hold. I'm happy that it's only 2 parts. Like, I don't think this deserved any more than 2 parts. I think 3 parts would have been dragging it. But yeah, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.